cars we and countless other visitors to the festival couldn't wait to see was the Mercedes-AMG GT3. Launched in 2015, the car made its debut in the legendary Nürburgring 24-hour race and made a clean sweep of the podium on its first outing. Also sporting an enviable racing pedigree, including no less than 13 Formula One victories, was David Coulthard.
Good morning still? No, it's afternoon. Excuse me, I just flew in this morning. How lucky am I? I've just been at one of the most historic Grand Prix tracks at Spa in Belgium on Sunday. I'm here now at a venue which is, certainly for me in terms of motorsport, a great part of the history. I remember as a kid reading about Kyalami, and then I've been lucky enough to be here at an event a few years ago. I believe we're going to have a fun day today. We're going to experience the GT3 car around this amazing new facility.
While the GT3 resembles the GT and GTS in basic outline, it shares very little else with the road cars. The bespoke body panels, which increase the width by 11 centimeters, are molded from carbon-reinforced plastics, while the standard model's 4-litre turbocharged V8 is replaced by the naturally aspirated 6.2-litre found in the SLS. This is said to reduce complexity and improve reliability for endurance racing. Before the Flying Scotsman was let loose around the track, the GT3 was handed over to Mercedes-AMG development tester Reinhold Bringer to ensure the vehicle's setup was spot on for the revamped Kyalami Grand Prix circuit. Interestingly, the AMG's cabin was developed specifically to facilitate driver changes between stints. The seat remains in a fixed position for optimal weight distribution, but the pedal box can be adjusted to suit drivers of different heights.
You've got the best job. I know David Coulthard thinks he has, but I mean, you sit here working with Mercedes-Benz, with advanced driving, with the customer racing teams. It's a big business for Mercedes-Benz and AMG now to produce cars for customers.
Yeah, the GT3 racing is really popular. I think the identification of the spectators with the cars is a big thing. So they see this is a AMG GT. Who's racing? This is maybe a Porsche or other type of car, also it's, I guess, a big field. So we have cars, 50, 60 cars in a race, like in Spa-Francorchamps or in the Blanc series, and this is just nice to see and to look, and it's a lot of action and everything.
But I suppose in racing terms, way more affordable than doing DTM and certainly Formula One.
Yeah, definitely. The performance you get for the money is really good. So the value is really good. So the car is super fast. It's you can hear it here on the track.
Sounds good, like
has a good sound, good emotions with the aerodynamic the car has. The corner speed is so super good. Also,
you spoke about a lot of weight reduction. Obviously, everything built to FIA GT3 spec. What does that car weigh?
The car is 1,280 in the homologation weight, and depends in which racing league it races. It's 1,310 or 1,300.
Obviously, you've mentioned the aero, which is significant, especially when you come to a circuit like this. It's fast and flowing, but sequential box, obviously a lot more performance out of the engine as well.
Yeah, so the difference to the normal street car is big. So it's a pure racing car. Like you said, we have the lightweight performance. So the parts are carbon fiber. So we have 300-400 kilos less on weight in this car. You have the racing brakes, you have the racing suspension. Like you said, a 6-speed sequential gearbox, and we are running the 6.2 aspirated powerful engine in this car.
It's your first time here. What do you think about the track?
The track is fantastic. Like I said, first time for me here. What I really like is the flow. So you have really flow in corners, and I personally like elevation changes. And uphill, blind, and you don't know where's the right braking point in the first laps. It's very exciting.
Exciting indeed, but certainly not for the faint-hearted. Luckily, Morris is no stranger to the racetrack, and he was quick to jump into the GT3's passenger seat.
David, it's been a while since you've been back at Kyalami, and a lot has changed. You've been out on the track now. I know when I last spoke to you then, you loved Kyalami. Do you like the new one as much?
I think it's fantastic, I really do, and I'm not saying it just to be nice because I'm here. It's a proper old school racetrack, even with the modern changes that have been made. And there's some really meaty corners where I've been around in the GT3 this morning, and I've been leaving quite a safety margin. If I was here competing, then I'd be losing probably half a second in both those corners. But I feel when you've got guests on board and you're learning a car, it's probably the respectful thing to do. But down into turn 1 through 2 into 3, it's just a fantastic sequence of corners.
You've now driven this car. What is it like from a racing driver's perspective? Is it still a pucker racing car?
Well, it is. It has certain aids, traction control, ABS, which, given the weight of the car, because with regulation they could make it much lighter, but at the end of the day it's a derivative of a GT road car. So with that amount of weight, it's just safer. With big mass. The good thing about this, actually, the contact patch with the tyres is much wider than a DTM. So with a DTM, if you lock the wheel, it's very difficult to get it rotating again because there's so much mass in the car. But with this, you've got more contact, and it's really fun. Really, I'm mentally retired from racing, but driving something like that makes me think, ooh, I think I could do this. Yeah. Big mistake.
but David, is that not the appeal? I mean, you're blessed, you've got to race at the highest level, but for everyone else, that's what we want to do. Now it's almost become attainable because it's not as expensive, it's not crazy like DTM. You're getting fields of 60 cars racing at all the greatest circuits. Is that what the appeal is?
Yeah, absolutely. We love mobility, and we were talking before this interview about how from the youngest age, whether it's little boys, little girls, the joy of being in a scooter or being pushed in a swing or something, it's that freedom of movement. And taking it through to the racetrack it's sort of the end game of what we know. The really visionary people go in rockets into space, but whilst we're on planet Earth, the race cars is as good as it gets in terms of feeling G-force and connecting with something we can do every day. Jet fighters are incredible, but it's a very different G-force that you have on the body. Something like this gives us, it does. It gives us an opportunity to pull G and do it in a relatively safe form, and the only reason I don't say totally safe, of course, is because life is dangerous. Something's going to get us in the end, and hopefully it's old age with a big smile on their face, but some people aren't that lucky.
And I suppose, final question from a manufacturer perspective, what is critical here is these are cars that consumers can identify with. They're usually the halo brands for a manufacturer. So, DTM a lot of the time is so far removed from what you and I could ever drive. Yeah. I suppose that's the future of motorsport, perhaps. Is F1 not getting too technically advanced, too flying the rocket to space?
I totally agree. I think that Formula One is unattainable without the massive support of a team of people, and in many cases for young drivers, they need, if they're not part of a young driver program like coming through F3 with Mercedes or the Red Bull program or whatever it happens to be, you just need a lot of patronage to get you into a Grand Prix car. But GT4 as it emerges, GT3 is absolutely achievable, and it's when you've marques like Mercedes-Benz and amongst others who are committed to it and support it, as you used that lovely expression, the Halo project for what we can then go and buy on the road, that's all the endorsement you need to know. Yes, it's a business for them, but equally it's a much closer DNA fit to developing the high-performance AMG road cars that I drive or you can drive on the road today.
All this talk of driving had Marius chomping at the bit, and who could blame him? To sample one of AMG's finest around the equally imposing Kyalami is an experience to savour.
Let me tell you, it's going to sound weird saying this, the acceleration is okay. I mean, we've all driven plenty of supercars that accelerate in much the same way, but the aero package on that car and its ability to stop and grip the lateral G's is just insane. This little new section here at Kyalami is quite tricky. It's fast and flowing, but he wasn't on the brakes. He's like on half throttle and the thing just sucks down. It's really impressive. Down the mine shaft, 218 k's an hour. It was good. I want to drive the bugger.